Mike's Daily Podcast.
So long ago, I don't remember when. That's when they said I lost my only friend. Hey, I'm the Wallflowers, and that's the only hit I ever had, except for that 6th Avenue Heartache song. Jacob Dylan. Remember when he became bigger than his dad for like 5 minutes? Holy crap, that was the time. My name's Mike Matthews. Welcome to our show. Today it is
Mike's Daily Podcast.
Episode 1630. And apparently, thank you to
Mike's Daily Podcast.
A bunch of people who tuned into my podcast that never did before. They wanted to hear me talk about and explore my feelings and thoughts for a great person who was an influence. That would have been someone who told me the story about the 2 tents and said,
Mike's Daily Podcast.
That the guy who went to see the psychiatrist that had the dream about the 2 teepees. The psychiatrist says,
Mike's
you're 2 tents.
Daily
And that was the joke
Podcast
that I just butchered.
Yeah!
But yeah, no, the little chat I did about Mark, who I used to work with, who passed away recently. A lot of people tuned into that podcast. And to those of you who did, thank you. It was great to have you come along for the ride and see a little bit of what I do. A little bit of what Mark helped make years ago. Put this little seed in my mind of a place that people could go to in their minds. Café Anyway, as someone just walked in, as a matter of fact. Hello, my name is Madame Rootabega, and I enjoy listening to this show. Thank you. You are also on the show. What? Yes, you are. But when you say "vut," is that spelled V-U-T? No, just "vut." Okay. By the way, now one more extra fan of the Mike's Daily Podcast page on Facebook. Facebook.com/Mike's Daily Podcast. We're at 131. And that is going to go back down to 130 soon, I'm sure. Because
it's a nightmare of a show.
We'll get that kind of response. I don't know. It goes up, it goes down, goes up and goes down.
Whoa.
But there, thank you so much for that. Wow. I'm sure ingratiating myself to you today with all this thanking. Look who else walked in.
Hello.
And here's today's podcast picture.
It's Ariel. Again, like she's on every single show. But she's talking about the podcast picture, which I'm going to mention. But first, look who it is.
Hello.
And look who else is here. Hey! Well, actually, they're going to say their names.
Hello there, Mike. This is Valentino, the parking attendant.
And it's Bison Bentley. Do you know that?
Mike, we are very big fans of this show. That's why we keep coming in all the time there.
Yeah! All the time. Do you know that? Guys, I want to share something with you, and that's something I just realized today, that I'm 5 months away. That's right. I'm more, as of, I guess, now. Well, I guess of a month ago, I guess, at this point, I had reached halfway, more than halfway to my birthday. So, 50. Gonna be 50. And I'm 50 and I can bend, I can stretch, and
I love it.
I might be mixing my Molly Shannon characters when I play that, but at any rate. So, gonna be 50 soon. Well, in less than half a year. So, woohoo there. A lot of my friends I went to high school with are already 50 because I got into school a little bit earlier than some of my compatriots because just the way where my birthday fell. So they're 50 already, so they seem to be alive and enjoying life. So I'm gonna be positive and think the same will happen with me. We shall see. But let's go back to, what do you think? 3 months ago? Let's go back to actually April, around April 22nd. Let's go back in time and do that thing. Excellent. let's go back to around that time when I was only 49 and a half and find a wonderful, lovely picture that I can post. Ooh, it was around that time that I went to the lovely Benicia, which my lovely lady friend DT apparently lived right. This is the weirdest thing. I discovered this over the weekend, that she used to live in a house that I used to park in front of all the time. When I would drive up to Benicia from Podcastro Valley, I would always park on the same street and in the same general area as where she used to live. Isn't that crazy? What are you, crazy? Oh man, I can't find anything today. Oh, here it is.
Are you crazy?
Thank you. And I also needed a little, not Twilight Zone. Yeah, well, I don't have Twilight Zone. Closest I have to Twilight Zone is this. Different thing, but kind of similar. Okay, so we'll go back to about half a year ago. I mean, when it was you know what I'm saying. Benicia. We'll post a picture from there. Let's see. We'll go with this one here of the beautiful water, as I like pictures about water, I guess. Thanks for listening to this podcast today. Oh, I've already ingratiated myself, haven't I? I don't have to keep thanking you for listening. But I do. Oh, okay. We'll go. This picture with the Marina. We'll go live. That was a Bill O'Reilly reference. We'll go live. Wow. There we go. Some boats. Benicia, we're done. Marina. Such a cute little place. I talked to a guy yesterday that likes to sail up to all these places around the Bay Area. And that's the thing. There's just so many places to go in the Bay Area. You can go really far east, like to Stockton. It's crazy. You can go far north up to Petaluma. You can go south down to I don't know if you can go all the way to Facebook, but you can go pretty far south. It's amazing if you didn't know that about the Bay Area. And you can stop by and see Mr. Zuckerberg.
You know, we have a basic responsibility to protect people's data. And if we can't do that, then we don't deserve to have the opportunity to serve people.
On Friday, I was getting my routine. I try to do it every month, get my tires checked at America's Tire is where I got them from. We got a couple of locations throughout the Bay Area. And they will, if you buy your tire, it's one of those places, if you buy a tire from them, they'll check it for you every month. If you buy your tires there. And the guy checks my tires. I go, how are they? How are they looking? How's it going? And he says, oh, they're great. You got a nail in one of them. And then I go, oh, well, I work. I basically live where I work, it seems. Sometimes it feels like that. But I go, hey, can you I'm not off from work for like 2 hours. I'm here on my break. Can you fix these in like 2 hours? And he said, sure. And that was done. And I told you that story just to say that you can pick up a freaking nail anywhere. It's crazy, stupid tires. Hey, and then there was this word, disinhibition. Have you heard this word? And it's the word. It's sort of like what happens when you've got a guy as your president who can say things like,
I could stand in the middle of Fifth Avenue and shoot somebody and I wouldn't lose any voters, okay? It's like incredible.
When people feel they can say anything they want, who are your president, and they just speak off the cuff, and now everybody feels they can do that. Disinhibition. Apparently that's happening in our society, if you did not know. Mueller apparently will not convict Trump. This is what I'm hearing now, even if there is some sort of wrongdoing. Mueller. And that has to go back to, that has to do with Nixon and Clinton. When Bill Clinton was caught with the whole Monica Lewinsky thing, and Nixon caught with the whole Watergate thing. In both cases, impeachment processes took place, and in fact, Clinton was impeached, but he remained in office. Nixon resigned, but in both cases, the president was not convicted. So, according to the New York Times, where I was getting this information, there has not been a president that has been convicted yet. So, could Trump be convicted? Sources say no. We'll see. My weekend job. I like to talk about my weekend job. I didn't do my weekend job this past weekend, which was lovely. I got to spend it with my lovely lady friend, DT. And we had a great time. And weekend jobs. Well, this weekend job is interesting because there were these speakers that got blown out. And I think I have a pretty good idea who it was. It's a millennial that works for us. And he's white. And he loves rap music. And so I think what he may have done was blast the music a little too loud. And we've got these old JBL speakers, which if you're male and over 50 and white in the Bay Area, you go gaga crap over JBLs. Oh, I love JBL speakers. Oh, my God. My ex-wife's dad was gaga over the frickin' JBLs. That's all he talked about. Yeah, man, I got some JBL speakers, man. They're the best, man. Oh, did I mention that every sentence had to end with the word man? Man. So, gaga over JBLs. So, we have these JBL speakers, these big ones, hanging from the walls. And apparently, young millennial guy, this is my theory anyway, I could be completely wrong. And that's all right. It's all right to be completely wrong. Other people that we know of have been wrong. But the JBLs, however, are not compatible with rap music. They cannot play those low ends, those basses, the searing bass notes, and they can't do the dynamics. So they got blown out and they sounded horrible. And we used this one room to produce stuff, to make nice sounding, interesting commercials and promos, as we call them. Oh, promos. Listen, that goes into another story I can tell you really quickly. But first, so apparently now, after half a year of these things being blown, and then they replaced these speakers with smaller ones just to have some that were also JBLs, by the way. And we've had to do this workaround for months now. Apparently, they've been replaced. And my boss at my part-time job goes, "Hey, don't blow these speakers out. Be careful. Don't blast the speakers." And I talked to someone who's been in radio for freaking 70 years. And he said, there's a simple answer to that. You turn the amp down. You make it so you can't overpower the speakers. You bring it down, that there's a limit to the volume. When you're cranking up your volume to listen to this show, you can only go so far. And there's a way to make it impede it, to keep it so it's low. And I don't know why my boss at the part-time job doesn't do this. He's been in radio for frickin' ever too. So why he doesn't know how to do that, I don't know. But these are questions that shall not be answered on today's show. They shall not. I have a friend who makes the utterly most ridiculous criticisms. And I just can't follow sometimes these criticisms. Do you have a friend like that? You're talking to them and you're like, yeah, I made a delicious tuna salad sandwich and I put the bread on and it was really good and I put a little bit of dill. Oh, I hate dill. Dill is terrible. Whoa. And then they make that face. Whoa. Why? There is no... You can't wrap your head around... Why do you hate dill? Oh, I don't get what... There'll be these little things that you just go, huh? You don't like that? What? And they have no reason. I don't like it because I don't like it. Oh, it drives me nuts. It drives me nuts. And I'll tell you, you know what? Fine. March to your own drum. But don't do in front of me. Hey, here's another interesting thing. Meghan Markle. Was she not the most beautiful bride ever? I didn't watch the royal wedding, but I do have this little sound effect for it. And I thought she looked beautiful. Oh, I didn't like her dress. It looked horrible. Finally, and that's all I had to say about the royal wedding. I didn't see anything else. Ed Sheeran was there. I hate Ed Sheeran. Why do you hate Ed Sheeran? No, I think you cannot hate Ed Sheeran. There's going to be some song that I play for you that if I don't tell you it's Ed Sheeran, you're going to go, oh, that's a pretty good song. He's got fast ones, slow ones, romantic ones, stupid ones. There's one you're going to like. And he's made buco bucks and lives in a castle on a hill now because of that. Now, here's the last thing I wanted to talk. Oh, by the way, 465 subscribers now to my, apparently, that's what my website says anyway, even though I can't see these subscribers' emails. But apparently, I have 465 subscribers getting when I post a new post to my website, you can get a newsletter. A quick email send to you that has links to where to listen to the new episode. All that to say, you can also go to mikesdailypodcast.com to help out the show, and there's things, and people talk like that, and they don't sound like they're cared or interested in anything they're saying, so I'll stop. But yeah, mikesdailypodcast.com. And finally, the whole horrible Santa Fe, Texas school shooting, which, if you did not know this yet, that is the exact same school, too, where there was a court case, and I think this went up to the Supreme Court, involving how the school wanted to say prayer over the loudspeaker at football games, because they're all about, Friday Night Lights and all that in Texas. And apparently there was a big lawsuit filed, like you can't, because this is federal funds or state funds for the blah, blah, blah. You can't say prayer over the loudspeakers, and there was a big case. That's the same school where that all took place. Prayer over loudspeakers, apparently, was the case, something to that effect. And that is the same school, interestingly enough. I did not know. But now, because this happened in Texas and not in Florida or not in California, it happened in Texas. Now it's all about, okay, now we got to do something. And, anybody that says thoughts and prayers at this point is an out-of-touch moron loon that needs to just stop, just get out of public talking. And if you hear thoughts and prayers from anyone, you immediately discount them. And I know I might have said something like that about Mark the other day, but I did not mean to say that. I meant thoughts. I mean, let's think about these people that we love that are gone, and what they meant to us. And I did go into a long thing about Mark. And thoughts and prayers is a stupid, because it's so just superficial. Our thoughts and prayers go out to the families. No. And people in Texas are starting to say that. Conservatives, Republicans are saying, hey, thoughts and prayers is not enough. And now there's this term being thrown around called hardening of targets. Hardening targets. And this guy that I've sometimes listened to, who is now a lawyer for Trump, and who worked on the case with the prayer over the loudspeakers at football games, he was even saying on his show yesterday that we have to harden the targets. And he's like, I'm worried about my grandkids. And here's my son. Son, what do you think? And the son goes, yeah, I'm worried about my kids when I drop them off every day. And then they start saying hardening of targets. Now we got Oliver North, the head of the new head of the NRA. Ollie North, yeah, the guy that, the Contra affair thing, if you remember that from the 80s. I'm barely remembering it now, but I'm barely awake, so what do you want? Ollie North, he is just saying, well, we need to put as many metal detectors as we can in schools. But it's now no longer thoughts and prayers superficial. It's like, let's get something done. Now, the arming of teachers. Well, there were 2 armed people, 2 armed security guards at that school in Santa Fe, and this still happened. That 17-year-old still got in there. So, at any rate, it's interesting how people are finally saying enough. Now, will it be enough? No, it won't, because Texas is going to drag their heels or their boots, and nothing's going to get done. So that's my thoughts on that. But thoughts. Anyway, those are some thoughts for you today. As we go outside of Café Anyway, we're bringing you Mike's Daily Podcast somewhere in Podcastro Valley. I did find it fascinating, and it seemed like a new day, a new moment, that even this lawyer for Trump, who hosts a conservative talk radio show on conservative radio that I work for, is even advocating some kind of something to be done instead of thoughts and prayers. And he was even railing against the term thoughts and prayers. It was on this date that Pacman began. A Japanese company, Namco, introduced Pacman, an arcade maze game based on the idea of eating. Introduced months later to the U.S. and renamed Pacman, it will grow in popularity to become the most famous, most profitable, and some say most influential arcade video game ever released. And I don't have a Pac-Man sound effect for you, but I have this. And that's got to count for something. Then, what? White House releases commemorative coin for the North Korea talks? Interesting. Oh, and that's a whole thing. I was listening to the podcast from the New York Times called The Daily, and they were talking about how North Korea does not want to be Libya. And what does that mean? Well, when Muammar Gaddafi made a deal with George W. Bush about 15 years ago with John Bolton, who is now the same guy spearheading this whole North Korea talk, there was stuff that happened where, Gaddafi gave up all the nuclear weapons he had, and then just a little while later, during the Obama administration, he's killed. The people find him, the people that hated him for 40 years of bloodshed, and they kill him. And so now Kim Jong-un is afraid that's going to happen to him, and the guy that caused this to happen to Muammar Gaddafi is in charge of this whole talks. That would be John Bolton. So, not Michael Bolton. When a man loves a woman. Is that the first Michael Bolton song that popped in my head? Good God. What about time, love, and tenderness? It put you through the fire when love puts you to the test. Nothing heals a broken heart like time, love, and tenderness. So the White House is that's going on. Actually, Trump is trying to allay the fears of Kim Jong-un. He has been quoted as saying, hey, no, we're not going to do a Libya thing. But if we don't do a deal, Kim Jong-un, it's going to happen to you. You'll get the whole Libya treatment, and you'll get killed just like Muammar Gaddafi.
They will be met with fire, fury, and frankly power, the likes of which this world has never seen before.
A commemorative trip coin to mark the upcoming summit between Trump and, President Trump, Donald John Trump? What? The what? Wow, that article was not proofread. Just want you to know. From The Hill. The Hill should know better. And as I wrap up the show right now with this last thought, I have these guys on Mondays who've never done radio before, and they come in, and I've just decided I am their teacher. I've become I basically have to be their principal, and they're the unruly kids, because they don't know what they're doing. They got a show on the radio, but they don't know what they're doing. They don't grasp the concept of radio. And I'm always telling them stuff like, don't you know that? Don't you know better? And they wrote a 30-second commercial to promote a show that's coming up this weekend that they're doing, where they're going to talk to, is it Ro Khanna, our representative from Silicon Valley? Ro Khanna. Khanna. Rohit Ro Khanna. Ro Khanna. Born in 1976 an American academic lawyer and politician, serving as the U.S. representative for California's 17th congressional district, including that would be Silicon Valley. Member of the Democrat Party. I believe he said many things about Trump. I forget if he said the thing about impeaching him or not, but yeah, he defeated Mike Honda. So, they're going to interview him, and they wanted to promote it. It took them 45 minutes to write their promo. I don't get it. And then I'm waiting for them because I got to record them, and then they're basically cutting into my break time. I have to take a break because I've been here for over 6 hours. Been at work for over 6 hours, but I've only been here for about 26 minutes for this show. So let's wrap up the show here at Café Anyway. Next show, it'll be the wonderful Chely Shoehart, Floyd the Floorman, and John Deere the Engineer. Thanks for listening.
Mike's Daily Podcast is written and produced and performed by Mike Matthews. His podcast is super easy to find. Download or listen to his show and read his blog at mikesdailypodcast.com. Email Mike now at mikesdailypodcast@gmail.com. See you tomorrow. Bye!